Oh, boxing changed me, big time. Growing up, I always wanted to be a part of something. I wasn't the brightest kid at school, got kicked out at a young age, and I was definitely not the teacher's pet. Looking back to it all now, I think with boxing, it made me feel like I was a part of a gang, a positive gang. So I was around good people, and I met good people. And I say it now, if you took boxing away from me, I wouldn't really know where my path is. Boxing kind of, when I started boxing at the age of 17, it gave me a direction. And looking back now, it helps me so much. If I had something like Carney's around me when I was growing up, it would have saved me from so much trouble, what I got myself into.
We have the doors open to everyone, not just the kids from the estate, not just the kids who are the ones you'd expect to come down to the youth centre. We open the doors to everybody, whether it's race, religion, class, whatever the barrier might be. It's just bringing all these kids together, and through the boxing, it doesn't matter where you're from, doesn't matter who you are, what your family name is, what your heritage is, none of that matters. You get in the ring and everyone's at an equal playing field.
If Carney's wasn't a thing, I think most people that have been to Carney's and still go to Carney's to this day would struggle with keeping themselves out of trouble.
If this wasn't here, there'll be way more violence.
It's quite a long story. So basically, it's based on the work that myself and Mark, the other co-founder, have been doing since around 2001. I started doing youth work. I kind of fell into doing youth work, working with young offenders, where you work intensely for 6 months with young people as either last chance before going to prison, or they come out of prison early and they'd spend 6 months with you. Throughout all of that time, I also had some young people that wanted to box, so I found out that Fitzroy Lodge, brought them down, introduced them, spoke to Mick Carney. He liked what we were about. Mick passed away in 2011. Before he passed away, he'd been saying to myself and Mark that we should try and set something up where it's more than just on a Friday evening. Myself and Mark got together, thought we wanted to try and carry on Mick's legacy, and so we decided to take a bit of a leap of faith and set up a charity and name it after Mick. But we wanted to be a place where the ones who might not necessarily be able to go to those places, they'd come to us. We could teach them some of the skills, the discipline, the honour code, about how to control your emotions, all that kind of stuff, so that we could then use that to then get them into developing themselves in other ways, whether it be work, whether it be their own personal development, life skills, family issues, whatever.
My big purpose for Carney's when we first set it up, if you was to ask me, the one main goal was to offer people something to belong to, somewhere where people can come and feel safe, speak about their emotions, speak how they feel, and know that they're not going to get judged. They're not going to get mocked. They're not going to get kind of brushed away. They're not going to be told, "Oh, sorry, I'm busy at the moment. You can't come and speak to me."
So yeah, I'd say Mick's legacy is definitely kind of looked at day in, day out.
Mick was a great man. He was like a second father to me and my wife Jenny. He was Uncle Mick to my kids. He was always smartly dressed, well mannered. He led by example.
Nobody's ever come to Fitzroy Lodge and it's been closed, meaning I'll be here 7 days a week and I'd give them 100%. All I need is them to give 100%.
He was just a genuine man. I mean, in and out of the ring, any bit of advice to do with anything, professionalism, birds, whatever, he was there with advice. The range of people he knew and loved him, the range of backgrounds, that just indicates the man he was.
He was just a genuine bloke, old school, fantastic guy, and you don't come across people like Mickey in your life too often.
I think I found a father figure in someone, and that was Mick.
came here volunteering originally with sort of like the mind to help out, and then they liked what I did, and so they put me in charge of the bike workshop. I'm teaching these kids patience, curiosity, and commitment. Some of the bikes we get donated are quite good. I mean, they look old. Oh, there's this one as well. This is a brand new one. That's a sick one. It's really nice. You want to take it for a test ride? Yeah? Yeah. People will try and take it from you. So, and I know it looks a bit geeky with mudguards, but when you're cycling in the pouring rain, you will appreciate mudguards more than anything. So, you know that when you're taking a bike out through it, you always wheel it just to make space for yourself. Like, that's the M check. So you can start at either end of the bike. You either start at the front or the back. So you can read it first to see what it says, and then you can go through the routine. So next, have a look at the M check. So we've done that, front brake, headset. So, how do you think you check the headset? Yeah. So, how do you yeah, you're on the right path. So, but you've got the wrong brake. So swap hands, turn it 45 degrees. So one's your thumb and one's your finger, so that you control it like that. So pedal and go through the gears. So that changes the back gear. So your thumb puts it into an easier gear and your finger puts it into a harder gear, yeah? Okay, so put it to the middle of the block. Oh, you'll be all right, because the apron's not too tight. Yeah, just ride up and down. See how it feels. Once you learn to think mechanically minded, you understand the application of tools, how to use tools, how systems work, physical systems, and you can apply that to many different crafts and trades once you learn those basics. And you can look at life as a bike journey. If you go too fast and you've got no brakes, you're going to come a cropper. So, there's lots of different analogies that you can use, but I'll leave that for the kids to make those analogies rather than to prompt them into thinking a certain way, because I'm trying to teach people how to think, not to think like me, or to just how to think, So I suppose the biggest benefit they can have from doing this course is learning how to assess situations and solve problems, and I think that's important in life all the way through.
There you go. If you've got talent, you won't get by on talent. But a Lamborghini car, if it's got no petrol in it, ain't going nowhere. And if you don't put the effort in the gym, then forget about it. It's not that sort of sport. You get found out. It's no good looking at this week and thinking, did I train last week? You've got to look back. What did I do in January? What did I do in December? Did I start working in January the 1st or February the 12th? If you haven't, wrong place, wrong sport.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back to straight. Let's go.
I think one thing for a lot of people is they don't realise just how much effort is needed in boxing. It's a lot of hard work. So I think when the kids come in and whatever issues they might have, whatever stresses they might have, to know that they're coming somewhere where the coaches are going to be on them, number one. So they've got no other choice but to work.
Whenever you do something as difficult as boxing, you force yourself to do something that you maybe didn't want to do or you were scared to do. It's very empowering. I think there's a sense of taking control over your own destiny, over your own life. It gives you that belief and that confidence that you can actually, whatever else is going on in your life, that you can deal with it and that you can progress. And when I leave a good training session, I've got no energy to argue, It could be with whoever, it could be friends, family or whatever. If anyone's in a bad mood out on the street, if you're driving, whatever, I've got no time for it, I've got no energy for it. I've already put it all into training. And I think that's huge.
I live very local. I live about a 10-minute walk away. When did I first come to Carney's? I'd say, I couldn't give you an exact date, but it's been over a year. I'd say over about a year and 3 months, 4 months. It feels like a place I can always come to box and mingle and meet new people. I kind of just wanted to fight everyone. I was just like, I could beat everyone in the gym. And then I guess what they did in return is they kind of made me feel open. Like they gave me the biggest, hardest guys, but they weren't like trying to kill me or nothing. They just sparred me and we kind of bonded through that instead of becoming enemies. Physically, boxing has helped me lose weight, and in doing that, it's helped me gain a lot of confidence. But I don't feel like just me losing weight was the confidence build. I feel like it was me actually like working out, meeting people, bonding with them, and like sparring. You're physically, like it gets really physical, and you're hugging and holding. Like you really get to know someone. You kind of have to let that show go of shyness and just go out. Otherwise, you'll either get hit or something crazy like that. I didn't realize how big Carney's was until their last event, their last fight, almost 2 weeks ago now, I wish. And when I went to the fight, the whole place was packed out. All the tickets are sold out. They couldn't sell any more tickets because we were at like max capacity. And just seeing everyone that I've seen around the area and like even old ladies, young boys, like random people I wouldn't think, rah, they're coming to see a boxing show here. They were here and they knew about Carney's. It's crazy to me how many people actually associate with Carney's or just have good things. Like it's never bad. It's always Carney's has helped me, or I came here for help. Anyone that I've known or seen.
I got referred by my first secondary school to come here to deal with my anger because I had anger management issues. I no longer feel like I have to do certain things to be recognised. Like before I was thinking, oh yeah, I've got to do all this to become someone successful, but through Carney's, they've shown me other opportunities where I can be successful and do stuff good in my life. Now I surround myself with a better group of people that, instead of leading me down certain roads where it's not really a good road to go down, I'm at Carney's and they're showing me better places that I could be. So when I come to Carney's and I start hitting the bag or I start sparring someone, that anger slowly goes away. By the time I'm finished training and I'm on my way home, I'm in a good place of mind.
Food's banging. every session that's here, there's always food. 10-10. Amazing food.
Steve, we don't get a penny off of anybody, you know. They're very good at talking about schools and colleges and academies and all that where the money's going. But, you know, we're a bread and butter club in Lambeth since 1908 it was founded, you know. It's really hurtful, Steve. It really, really hurts that over all these years you think you're fighting every week.
In my era, when I was young, there was youth clubs in every estate in the borough. And as you get older, they all seem to close. I personally don't think they do enough. Maybe they do, but I don't see it. And I just think they need to understand the demographic of the people that use Carney's. For the neighbours, especially, you've got Battersea Park across the road. Like, it's an affluent area, and for them to say that, to see a positive place for young people, it's humbling sometimes. For them, they think, right, all they see in the news is, this is state trouble, knife crime, probably see police a lot, but then they look outside and just see young people engaging in positive activities. Like when we had the punching machine, we had all the kids outside, and you got people walking out and just seeing kids smiling. There was no trouble, loads of kids smiling and being happy, and that's what Carney's brings. I just feel like they should invest a lot more time, rather than saying, oh, we'll throw money at it. Come and actually get involved. Like, not just one session, come and speak to the kids that not just are doing well at Carney's, the kids that are struggling and have relapse and stuff like that. Just invest your time in these things and you'll see the benefits.
As far as my experience since the 80s up until now, there's never enough local government support or central government support for any youth project.
As a charity for us, we've never had funding that's lasted more than 3 years. And the young people we're working with, 3 years is probably the minimum it would take to build a relationship with them before we start seeing those big successes.
It's definitely underpaid. We've had people, well, I've known people that has been in charity work and they're brilliant at their work, but they had to leave the organisation because they had to survive. And it's such a shame because there's this one guy, he was brilliant with the young kids. He weren't getting enough, he had to leave. He had to leave the charity he was working for to work in an office. Nothing wrong with that, he's more probably earning double what he was getting working for a charity. But it's just a shame because him being in the office is great, but we know having him in a space like this, how much impact he would help, not just for an organisation or for a company, but for all these young kids that are coming through the door.
I think there's a lack of understanding about young people and society in general and where the costs are. So, I mean, if we're looking at it, take away all the like, kind of human elements of it. If we look at it as an economical project, okay, and you say, right, who's costing society the most? There is a tiny, tiny proportion, I think it's something like 1 or 2%, no, it's probably 1% of young people costing society about 80-90% of all of the costs. And so really, economically, if we look at it sensibly, if you want to save money, those are the people you want to target. We don't have a long-term strategy in place. Even local councils don't have a long-term strategy in place. Even the government doesn't have a long-term strategy in place. You have like 4-year cycles, and you've got the Conservatives are not going to put something into place that is going to benefit society in 10 years' time when Labour might be in power because they don't want them to get the credit. So we've got real short-term thinking with everything we do, and that's what I think is the biggest failing in society, and that's why I think it's so important for us to make people aware that if you really want to make an impact, there's got to be funding that's around for in the long term.
5 to 10 years for Carneys, I would really hope that they would be pushing the idea of life skills. I would love to be able to be a policymaker in the next 5 to 10 years so that what youth organisations and charities have to adhere to actually makes sense and is actually relevant and it's actually applicable for themselves and the young people.
And for myself, I don't know, maybe be another version of George somewhere in another borough or in a place that I hold dear to my heart. Maybe start a charity and give back to the community.
I do want to become a boxer. I'd want to be a champion in a weight class, maybe lightweight or middleweight. I'd want to be a champ there. And surprisingly, I'd want to be getting into politics because I'd want to start looking into running my own country, being a president or starting something.
I want to have my first amateur bout, and if I like it, then from there, I'm going to try and go pro by the time I turn 19, 20, like around that age.
I don't want to get paid to work by the time I'm 40. I want to come here and volunteer and give my time for free.
I would like that some of the participants go on to either do SciTech training and become professionally qualified mechanics or take their mechanical skills forward. The possibilities are endless. It depends on the participant.
With Carney's, I don't want us to get into a bigger building. I think why we stand out, and I'm not being biased because I worked in other organisations and other charity, but it works well here because I think a lot of the coaches and the staff are not actually here for the money. Like I mentioned earlier, we don't get paid at the top end, but we're here because we're passionate about what we do. What I would like to see in maybe 10 years' time is other organisations, other charities, seeing what we do and putting that in other places.
We have rules, we have boundaries, we have consequences to breaking those boundaries and breaching the boundaries, but the consequence is never, we're no longer going to be here to support you, you're not allowed to come here anymore, we don't want anything to do with you. It's never going to be that. It will always be, no matter what happens, no matter what you do, no matter what you've been through, we will be here to support you. You have to behave in a certain way as well, but we will never say to you, sorry, we have nothing more to do with you, goodbye.